Welcome back to Dime Comic Bros podcast. I am your host, Jacob, joined by my co-host, Spencer. And we are here to talk about the comic news of the month.
Why buy a comic that might cost more than a dime? Come meet the brothers who are here to waste your time.
So I'll start. From DC.com. This May, the origin of Mr. Terrific is dramatically revisited and expanded in a new DC All-In series, Mr. Terrific: Year One. The 6-issue limited series marks the return of Peabody Award-winning journalist, TV writer, and host of the investigative reporting show Reveal Al Letson to DC following his 2017 debut in the DC New Talent Showcase. Letson is joined on the series by award-winning artist Valentine Delandro, known for Black Manta and Infinite Frontier and Bitch Planet and DC Power: A Celebration, and colorist Marissa Louise and letterer Lucas Gattani. This series will also feature art by Edwin Gallman, who will provide present-day sequences integral to the story. A genius-level inventor and Olympic champion, Michael Holt's life was destined for greatness, but that life came to a screeching halt when his wife Paula, the unborn son were killed in a car accident. The Holts once shared ambitious dreams of using their technology to help others, but after the tragedy, Michael retreats from society, selling Holt Industries to mysterious and craven tech billionaire Athena Prescott. Surrendering his dream sets off an explosive chain of events, taking the exceptionally intelligent Holt from the depths of despair to the heights of heroism as Mr. Terrific. Valentine and I are diving deep and telling the origin story of who Mr. Terrific is as a man and as a superhero, said Letson. I've loved Valentine's work for years, and working on this series has been a dream. I can't wait for fans to see what we're cooking up.
I like the man with his balls. I have very little actual familiarity with Mr. Terrific.
That's what I was about to say.
2 series. He's always a really good guest appearance or addition. But with him being a fairly high cap beginning of the new DCU, it also makes sense that they would want to greenlight a new series. But also another Year One book is probably a good place to start with that, especially, for a character that not a lot of people are super familiar with. I think that the art looks fantastic. I might Misa might buy this.
Whoa.
Oh. I don't have a crippling comic buying addiction anyways.
All right.
Exclusive from Variety.com, The Umbrella Academy is back this June with a new story told in its original comic book medium from creators Gerard Way and Gabriel Ba and Dark Horse Comics. Per the description for The Umbrella Academy, Plan B, after the mass release of The City's Greatest Foes and the chaos that followed in Hotel Oblivion, The Umbrella Academy faces their most fearsome challenge to date, their other brothers and sisters. Known only as the Sparrows, they share a different connection to Sir Reginald Hargreaves and Mom. No one knows how to hurt each other more than family, and this powerful, ruthless brood will spare no brutality in favor of their sole objective, control, and the obedient glare that comes with it. Telling this story with Gabriel would become, as it is today, such a special part of my life, Way told Variety about continuing the Umbrella Academy comics. This is not only because we would evolve as artists, but because we had the opportunity to grow up over a pretty crazy adventure together. Each chapter of this story seems to form and coalesce into its own organism. Sometimes it's a screaming baby on a subway car, other times a great big bird falling from the sky, and because of this, I am just as excited for Plan B as I was when we went on this trip together with Apocalypse Suite. Unexpected. I knew that Way was kind of cooking something in the background because he's always working on something. Weird dude. But they stopped making issues when the series got I believe it was around the 2nd season of the Netflix series. They just kind of put it on the back burner or whatever. And with this series kind of falling off in popularity, I didn't think that this would get revisited, to be honest. I'm very much so looking forward to this, though, especially if they do plan on continuing, like every such and such amount of time, they just kind of drop a book, walk away, go make another one. Like, that's cool. And I'm really glad that both of them are working on it together as well. It's not a, it doesn't smell like a cash grab or whatever. It's like, yes, I want to make another book. Like, they just stopped making the books because they got busy with other stuff. It's not like they were really done.
Yeah, I'm confused what you mean when you say they stopped doing issues when the TV show was coming out, because all 3 books had already been released by then. So, but yeah, I can agree that it's cool that they just kind of jump in and make a cool book and release it and then jump back out. It helps keep the creativity in it instead of just like, well, shit, it's another month, I have to make a new issue.
Yeah.
From TheWrap.com, John Bernthal will return as the Punisher in Daredevil Born Again. And you won't have to wait.
From when we're doing this.
Not that anybody here is excited to watch it.
No, not at all.
And you won't have to wait too long to see him again after that. Following his return in the Disney Plus show, the actor will star in his own special presentation. Marvel Television indeed has a Punisher special in the works, with Bernthal not only starring but also co-writing alongside Reinaldo Marcus Green, the Wrap has learned. Green is also set to direct. The special presentation will air in 2026 alongside Season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. The Punisher's standalone outing will mark Marvel's 3rd special presentation after kicking off the trend with Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special and Werewolf by Night back in 2022. This is very good. I'm very excited for this.
Mucho excited.
It might even be better to have it as like an hour and a half movie, basically, instead of like a TV series that... At least Season 2 felt like it had a little bit of padding to make it into a full-blown TV show.
I agree. I'm a big defender of those 2 seasons, but they definitely had a pacing problem. And if they want to keep it a little bit more punchy and a little bit more exciting, probably cutting down on the runtime is a good idea. It is interesting that they're going for a special presentation, because I was initially really excited for these. I was hoping they were going to become a larger trend, and they just kind of came and went, and they stopped talking about them for a while. So I'm glad to see that they're revisiting this concept, because I do think it is a very good way. It's just a good utilization of the resources. I don't know. Werewolf by Night is goated as fuck.
I'm sure it's just a lot of corporate. It's hard to prove how much money they make and if they're worth making and all that shit.
Yeah, probably. It is also nice that they're so interested in continuing with this kind of branch of the Marvel characters, that before the show is even out yet, or the new season, reboot, revamp, whatever, like they're just already greenlighting stuff and announcing it to the public. I think that's pretty cool. John Bernthal co-writing is cool. Like, I love that guy. Like, aside from being a phenomenal actor, he seems like a really cool dude. He's surprisingly well-rounded on his like talents. He has this is so stupid, but brother has his own podcast, and he's legit smart as fuck. Like, I know I sound retarded talking about a podcast on a podcast, et cetera, but like, I don't know, he just seems like a really fucking cool, creative dude. So I'm glad that they're giving him some additional control, I guess. From Marvel.com, launching in May, Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion will be delivered by some of the most exciting comic talents working today. Bold Ultimate storyteller Denise Camp, acclaimed Miles Morales Spider-Man scribe Cody Ziegler, and rising star artist Jonas Scharf, known for his brilliant movie work on the recent Ultimate Universe 1 Year in One Shot. Paying off seeds planted by Ultimate Universe architect Jonathan Hickman at the very beginning of the new line, the long-awaited story finds Ultimate Universe inhabitant finds original Ultimate Universe inhabitant Miles Morales swinging over to the new one for an adventure that brings him into contact with the characters and events of the line's 5 current series. It's a crossover Saga Ultimate style. The series will also lay the groundwork for startling developments on the horizon, including the return of the Maker. Before the Maker remade Earth 6160, he left Miles Morales the key to reach his new universe, and when Miles' baby sister Lily used it to travel to the Ultimate Universe, it's up to Spider-Man to save her. But the Ultimate Universe is never safe for any Spider-Man. When the Spot attacks, Miles Morales will have to team up with an all-new Peter Parker, and that's just the start of his journey across 6160. It's also a miniseries. I couldn't really find a decent way to quote that part, but it's a 5 issues miniseries, which is cool. Dude, when he goes back to mainline 616, he should just kill Peter, just because, holy fuck, the contrast between those two Peters is so stupid. It's like, oh, look, this is the one that people want, and then main Peter is just like, I'm getting divorced again, or whatever the fuck. And it's like, could you just kill him? Just kill him. Take him out. Anyways, yeah, it looks cool. It's odd that they're doing a miniseries, though.
I'll probably get this because I've been getting most of the Ultimate stuff except for Spider-Man. I figured I would just wait and get that in trades or whatever, but everything else I'm following, I'm up to date on. So if this is the great big crossover of everything, then yeah, I must read.
Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to Sharf's art as well. The 1 year in one shot was fantastic. In addition to just having really good writing, the art was a really cool change of pace. So it definitely seems to be a good pick for that. It's very interesting that Cody Ziegler is just like kind of Miles's new like babysitter right now for the past 4 years or something. He's just consistently like the only person who actually puts in any fucking effort for like the Spider-Man section of Marvel right now. I think he's been writing his series on and off for like multiple years, and he's involved in every single one of like the crossover events or whatever. And I haven't been able to like keep up with actually reading it, but everything's gotten a pretty solid like reception. So I guess it's good that they have someone just kind of steward that, since Bendis kind of walked away from it like 10 years ago. Oh.
From DC.com, DC announced a new Batman #1 comic book launching in September by the creative team of Matt Fraction and Jorge Jimenez. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Batman. It was the first comic I ever read, said Fraction. Jorge and I have a very superhero-forward kind of take on Batman. We've got a new Batmobile, we've got a new costume, we've got new characters, and we've got a lot of old ones too, good and bad. All the stuff that makes Batman the coolest character in comics. We want to celebrate it all. As a DC artist, I have to say this is something I've always dreamed of, and getting to do it alongside someone as amazing and talented as Matt is just incredible for me, said Jimenez. As for my work on Batman, the artistic side, I've poured years of hard work into the series. Over time, I've had to adapt to different styles and paces alongside James and Chip, learning and enjoying every step of the way. I've explored Gotham City from multiple angles, but more importantly, I've gradually built up more and more artistic tools that have led me to the current synthesis of my style.
Blue. The new suit looks dope as fuck.
Yeah, it looks really good. It kind of looks like a Nightwing knockoff.
A little bit, yeah.
But I really like the old school coloring of like the pale yellow spotlight and the blue cape outline. It looks old school, and I like it.
Yeah, it's a pretty vibrant, like in some of the interior art for the first issue got released, and it's a surprisingly vibrant suit. Like, Colin's going to be all over this. Mm-hmm. I love that Jimenez has just been working on this book forever. It's such a score. They must have him on some insane contract. He's been consistently the primary artist for Batman for like 5 years now, and churns out some of the best shit I've seen in my life. They must have him like chained up in a basement somewhere. He's outlasted multiple writers. Oh goodness, it looks like a really nice redesign. He really has just genuinely like evolved so many different times with how many different types of stories they've had to do. His portfolio is just so fucking big. From Marvel.com, prepare for launch, like the number 4, with the Fantastic Four First Steps trailer. Set against the vibrant backdrop of a 60s-inspired retro-futuristic world, Marvel Studios' The Fantastic Four First Steps introduces Marvel's first family of Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, Human Torch, and The Thing as they face their most daunting challenge yet. Forced to balance their roles as heroes with the strength of their family bond, they must defend Earth from a ravenous space god called Galactus and his enigmatic herald, Silver Surfer. And if Galactus's plan to devour the entire planet and everyone on it wasn't bad enough, it suddenly gets very personal. Releasing July 25 of this year. Holy ballsack on a stick, this trailer. Like, I was already hyped for this, and then it put its entire arm up my ass, and it's just puppeting me now. Like, save me. I need help. This movie is going to consume me.
I knew you would be all over the hype train as soon as the shot of Silver Surfer's feet were shown. I'm like, this is Spencer's shit. He's gonna see this day one for sure. Besides that, yeah, this looks really, really good. This gives me hope again for a good Marvel movie. It's the classic "we're so back, we're so over," but it seems to have the sauce. I think it looked like the cast has chemistry. Pedro Pascal is doing his best to sound like a hardcore science nerd. It was kind of weird hearing his voice trying to do that role, but I can see it work in a longer, viewing. It just looks really good. It's got the aesthetic.
Yeah, for sure. I have so many thoughts and yet no thoughts. It just we're so back. We're so back. Like, the fact that they've kept this fairly well under wraps as well is very indicative of a lot of things. Like, it initially went through a little bit of development trouble when they were trying to find a director and a couple of writers, but like, removing it from the greater MCU bullshittery right now, like, aside from that, just in terms of what we know is going to be in it, the attitude that they've had and the aesthetic, the vibe, the general just giving a shit, like, it actually feels like a family movie. It's like, oh, look at these people who actually know each other and give a shit. There was a leak of a particular angle that they're kind of approaching it from, which I don't know if it's been verified yet, so I'm not going to just like spit it out, but I think the way that they've actually set this up on another Earth, from what we can tell, is very interesting. I didn't want to get super lost in the plot mechanics of how they were doing all of this shenanigans, but I'm pretty sold on it, as like a background element of how they're even doing this. Galactus is going to have a big fucking head. Brother got the hat. He got that shit on. Such a big dork.
I like the Fantastic car.
Love the Thing is wearing a fucking shirt. I love their jumpsuits, man. I can't get over it. Like, the initial reveal of the key art was really nice, but the fact that they all have similarly styled but unique outfits, and they're just like sweaters, and also they're like spacesuits, but it's so cornball. Oh fuck, I love it. I love that so much. Also, yeah, the Thing does look fantastic.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
The fact that they've been doing like a on-set stand-in, like, it is a suit that they'll like over is pretty cool as well. It's like how they used to back in the good old days, how they do like the Iron Man armors. It's like a half suit, and then they use it for keyframes and stuff. So there is something on set to interact with. It is the actor in the suit. Is really cool. I love that they didn't change his voice either. It's such a, I don't know. I was kind of nervous about that because the Thing is such a really good character, and I will defend both previous versions of the Thing to various extents, but the fact that he doesn't really change as a person when he undergoes said transformation is kind of important. Like, he's the same dude. He's just been fucked. I don't know. Instead of them being like, and we're gonna gravel up his voice and make it sound all, it's like, he's just a dude. He's just in the kitchen. Like, I don't know. There's something very human about that I think is a really good choice. I do think out of said 4 characters, that's the one I'm the most looking forward to, like, watching the performance of.
It's the one that you identify with the most.
I mean, a little bit.
Yeah.
Big rock man. But also, Bachrach is just a fucking incredible performer. And I've said this every single time we brought this up, but the fact that they actually cast a blue-eyed Jewish man is kind of big, because Marvel fucking sucks at that. Like, distinctly sucks at that.
All right.
Yeah.
From DC.com, DC announced a new 5-issue DC All-In comic book series, Crypto, The Last Dog of Krypton, written by writer Ryan North and artist Mike Norton as part of their Summer of Superman publishing plans. Crypto, The Last Dog of Krypton is going to debut on June 18th of this year and delivers a heartfelt and moving view of humanity, good and bad, through the empathetic eyes of the ultimate outsider, a poor lost dog who just happens to have superpowers. Crypto's origin has always been done at kind of a high level, said Ryan North. The little guy starts out on Krypton, ends up on Earth, and helps Superman fight crime. The chance to really define Crypto, to show what a little lost dog would go through if he landed all alone on a strange alien world named Earth, was really enticing. And I also fell in love with the idea of treating Crypto as the actual dog he is. He doesn't talk, and we don't cheat by reading his thoughts in balloons either. Mike Norton's art captures exactly what needs to be said in every scene. Crypto tells us who he is and how he's feeling, like all dogs do, through his expressions and behavior, through body language and barks and snuggles and licks and sighs. Dogs are some of the most expressive animals, and we absolutely love them, and I wanted to tell a story that really captured and honored these animals, Crypto in particular. Through the 5 issues of Crypto, The Last Dog of Krypton, Crypto explores Earth in search of his family, finding himself lost and alone on our alien world with strange new superpowers quickly coming in. Crypto begins traveling the strange planet he finds himself in the middle of, always on the trail of his lost friend Kal-El, a being now better known as Superman. Each issue of this miniseries is a complete short story combining to tell the full story of Crypto the Superdog, continued North. Throughout these stories, we see Crypto face a strange new world. He travels from town to town, meeting and befriending people, sometimes helping to solve their problems, and sometimes finding problems of his own. He's a very good dog.
Hype. Dog. Doggy.
I assume this is an automatic buy for you.
Yes. I called it and put it in my pull list.
It'd be cool with there not really being many dialogue bubbles if they released this in a big book format of some sort, just to emphasize the incredible artwork.
I agree. I do really like that they are trying to, like, actually treat him like a dog. Obviously, blah blah blah, new movie means character gets pushed, etc., but doggy, I can't get over that. Like,
that was probably my favorite issue of the Matt Fraction run on Hawkeye, was a whole issue through the eyes of a dog, and it did the same thing. There was, like, if there was dialogue, it was a weird alien format that you couldn't read, except for, like, words that dogs would understand, like walk or outside, cheese. Like, it was really funny, and it was really good at storytelling. So I can see this doing very well.
Yeah, I agree. This is just such like a kid-friendly book. Like, this is reminding me of like getting into comics. It's got that smell on it of like, oh fuck, I want to just throw this at a child and be like, look, this is why I like this shit. You see, it's because it's a dog, but he's got superpowers and he's a good boy. I don't know. They're intuitively very into this. From Marvel.com. Writer Chip Zdarsky made a surprise appearance at Marvel Comics Pro presentation to announce he would be writing an all-new run on Captain America this July alongside artist Valerio Schiti. Following Zdarsky's Eisner-nominated run on Daredevil and Schiti's breathtaking work on Avengers and Gods, the two acclaimed creators team up to change how the world views Captain America forever. The opening arc of their game-changing new run takes place in a rarely explored time period after the World War II hero emerged from frozen suspended animation, but before he joined the Avengers. Declassifying Steve Rogers' first mission after re-enlisting in the U.S. Army, the story sees Captain America tasked with infiltrating Latveria, leading to his previously untold first encounter with Dr. Doom. Packed with bold, relevant insights into Captain America's role and legacy as he learns just how much the world has changed in his absence, this top-secret conflict will come back to haunt all involved when the series progresses into present-day storylines. In addition, fans can look forward to Cap suiting up in an all-new stealth uniform and leading an all-new group of Howling Commandos. While Captain America slumbered in ice, the world changed for better and for worse. He awakens to a reality where battles are fought in the shadows through secrets and subterfuge, and villains aren't easy to identify. When a fledgling dictator named Victor Von Doom conquers Latveria, Steve faces a critical decision: adapt to a new kind of warfare or forge his own path. And what will the choice he make in the past mean for the future? Awooga! Boing, buying.
The first issue releases July 2nd of this year.
Oh, they should delay it by 2 days and put it on July 4th. Wouldn't that be funny? Tee.
I'm sure that's the plan.
Probably. Zdarsky is one of the best fucking writers cooking anything at this point. And I'm a really big fan of...
The promo art outlines the wing on his helmet.
Yes. My beloved. Writing my beloved. Sheedy is fucking disgustingly talented. So this will probably look great. It'll read great. It'll be a good old fucking time. Watch Zdarsky have control of this book for 5 fucking years and make another critically acclaimed run. Like, what the fuck? Cap's books have had a very good reception since like the mid 2000s when they had their massive revival. But I don't think anything has really defined those books since like Brubaker left. Like, he had this massive reinvention that took a very long time, and everything's been good since then, but it doesn't seem to be, I don't know, there hasn't been some next like, oh, and this writer's era of this book was like, you know, genre defining or whatever, and maybe this could be that. I'm a very big fan of, what was it, I think it was Nick Spencer's period on the book, which was during the whole Hydra Cap thing. Don't open that door. I actually will defend that. But it would be nice, I think, for this to kind of pick up some headlines for once, instead of having like 18 issues getting relisted again and renumbered and whatever.
I've been reading Ta-Nehisi Coates' Captain America run, and the only detractor is that it's dealing with the fallout of Hydra Cap, and it's not its own thing. It's like he was kind of left to pick up the pieces, which he does a great job at, but it's like it's got a lot like bearing on it and kind of influencing the story already. So it was like, that's kind of too bad. I kind of wanted him to do his own thing, but whatever. Yeah. It's still very good.
Baggage.
Second half is coming into mail on Tuesday, and I can't wait. From DC.com, DC's Summer of Superman publishing initiative welcomes back the Maiden of Might to the publisher's roster of DC All-In titles with the debut of Supergirl, an all-new DC All-In series written and illustrated by celebrated storyteller Sophie Campbell, known for Wet Moon and TMNT. Kara Zor-El has always been a key member of the superfamily in Metropolis, but Campbell is taking Supergirl in a new direction among familiar surroundings as she gets back to her roots in the town of Midvale. But returning to her hometown after so many years away already presents some challenges. There's already another Supergirl there protecting the town and saving the day. Readers will have to check out the debut issue on May 14th to find out if the real Supergirl can discover the identity of the imposter and stop them before they steal her very life. I came up in the comics industry doing mostly graphic novels that I wrote and drew myself, so doing the same with Supergirl feels like I'm returning to my storytelling roots, said Supergirl writer and artist Sophie Campbell. My main touchstones to Kara Zor-El were the stories and the wild costumes of the 70s, the 1984 Supergirl movie, and the CW show, which I was a huge fan of. In creating this version of Supergirl, I'll be drawing on some of those influences as the series unfolds.
But can it top Woman of Tomorrow is the question. And the answer is no. But I'm always a sucker for a writer-artist doing all of the writing and the art. So I'm in. Also, she has a new suit now, and it's pretty cool. She has, like, thumb holes. She's such a girl. I love it. They're like, we wanted to go with sporty and also can beat you up, basically, was what they said. So it's a very similar outfit, but like the top has like long sleeves and then has like the thumb holes. It's so silly. I love it. I like this character getting a lot of attention now. It's a nice diversification of the Superman book line. Yeah, I'm always a sucker for one of them symbiotic books.
You like it for the diversification. I've always been weirded out by it because it feels derivative. It's like, maybe not derivative, but it's like we're trying to reach more people by making a girl character, but she hardly feels unique. It's usually just like, what if Superman was a girl? You know what I mean? I wish it did more to make her more distinguishable or her own unique character instead of just female Superman.
That's why you got to read Woman of Tomorrow, bro.
I know. It's waiting at home, waiting for me to get home. It'll be the first thing on the stack.
Mm-hmm. I do agree, though. There have been a lot of the runs, especially in the 70s and 80s, when it was very crazy outfits and bullshittery. Definitely did kind of lean too much in that direction. But the past few years have been a big step up on that front. She is a very interesting character, like in her own right. It's just a matter of the runs kind of getting more attention. So when another writer comes in and does kind of the like samey bullshit, they don't get attention, they get booted off the book, and then they bring in someone who gives a shit. Oh yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. From Star Wars.
Say it already.
The first trailer for Andor Season 2 exploded onto the scene with a glimpse of the birth of the Rebel Alliance as we know it, ahead of the long-awaited season.
More like you exploded when this trailer dropped.
Yes, I did. Mm-hmm. I'm actually not alive right now. I'm currently a cloud.
That's not what I meant.
Mm-hmm. Ahead of the long-awaited season premiere on April 22nd, the trailer reunites us with Cassian Andor, Senator Mon Mothma, Bix Colleen, Luthen Rael, and Cyril Karn from the critically acclaimed and Emmy-nominated first season of the Disney Plus series, as well as key characters from the fan-favorite standalone Rogue One, a Star Wars story, like K2SO, Saw Gerrera, and director Orson Krennic. Creator and executive producer Tony Gilroy has shared that this season will follow Cassian's journey in the 4 years leading up to the events of Rogue One, with episode story unfolding in 4 weekly chapters of 3 episodes each. While Season 1 followed Cassian's reluctant journey from cynical nobody to revolutionary volunteer, the long-awaited conclusion in Andor Season 2 will see the characters and the relationships intensify as the horizon of war draws near and Cassian becomes a key player in the Rebel Alliance. Everyone will be tested, and as the stakes rise, the betrayal, sacrifice, conflicting agendas will be profound. I was getting really fucking mad that they weren't marketing this. Like, the past few weeks, it's been the pressure cooker has been on. Like, what are they trying to bury this thing or something? Because it won an Emmy, multiple. Sorry, it was nominated, didn't win, which was bullshit. Whatever. Like, this thing came out of fucking nowhere. They didn't expect it to be as good as it was because they just left it alone. And they're finally finishing it, and it's like, oh yeah, this is out in a month. We should probably drop a trailer. Like, dude, what the fuck? The trailer got me mega hyper. I actually really like the new trend of Star Wars trailers not having Star Wars music. It's strange, but I fuck with it. The release strategy is also odd. I like that they're effectively dropping a movie every week, but it does kind of feel like they're trying to push it out, like getting it over with. But going from Daredevil directly into this is going to be such a great period for me. Like, we're so back, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Monkey hit button, you know.
It looks like there's more action in this season. There's a lot more explosions because the rebellion has started.
True. I'm going to become insufferable. I do not apologize for the person I'm going to become. Again.
Become? It started with a sour note in the trailer because it was like largely heralded by literally everybody. It's like, that's not the credit you want to start with. And then it started like showing the quotes from all the critics. It was just like, maybe don't have the slide saying everybody loved the show.
Yeah, it was like, definitely a weird vibe.
Kind of overcompensating for the people that were dumb and said it was bad.
True. Yeah, I don't know. I'm mucho excited. I believe there's also less directors for this season. I believe each arc is being done by a different director instead of every couple of episodes. So that'll be pretty cool. Big time jumps. So that'll also be very interesting. I'm very curious because the first season kind of uncurled over like a pretty short period of time, and then this one's going to have a bunch of different time skips. It's an interesting format difference. I'm curious how that's going to pan out. But Krennic will be there serving cunt and being a douche, so I'm super in. Like, you know, we're gonna do it up.
For my first personal review, I'm gonna do a big mashup of sequel books. I read Transformers Volume 2, written by Daniel Warren Johnson and illustrated by Daniel Warren Johnson. And I didn't have a whole lot to say about it. It still looks good, of course. My biggest takeaway was I was really impressed with how many Transformers kept appearing in the series. Like, Transformers I've never ever heard of. Not that I'm very deep into the lore, but there were some really wacky ones, and it felt like they were some of his personal favorites. And I'm like, okay, remind me to never cite the deep lore to Daniel Warren Johnson, because he was there when it was written. It looked good. It was a little complicated on, like, I don't know, just the Autobots and the Decepticons fighting back and forth and nothing really happening, which I guess is typical Transformers, but still. The other one was The Department of Truth, Volume 5, written by James Tynion IV and illustrated by Martin Simmons, I believe. These issues came out last year, and I resisted the urge to buy them in issues, and as soon as the trade hit the shelves, I was there, like the first day I bought. The book lasted me about a half hour of reading because I just cannot get enough of the series. It's just so good. It looks so good. I love the concept. This whole story arc deals with JFK and goes back in time and explains Lee Harvey Oswald's involvement with everything from JFK all the way up to now. it was really good to finally have that twist explained from the very first issue. It's been a couple of years that we've been wondering what in the heckin'. And it was kind of nice to just like take a breather from the continuing story and just like get information filled in. There was also a really cool one shot in the back of the book or at the end. It was 5 issues and this big one shot about Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, it was good. The series has 5 stars across the board. It's so good. It's my favoriteest ever. I spent $16 on each trade, which is a pretty good deal. I don't know if I'm going to keep up on the Transformers because I got really lost in the story. And like, I have a hard time telling RC from Alita because they have the same colors, just a different color scheme and different things like that. I don't know. I finally hit the point of Transformers that I always hit of like, what is happening? It's just a lot of cars yelling at each other and then explosions. I don't connect with the characters super well. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But apparently Daniel Warren Johnson is still making it. He's up to issue like 20 as he's still making The Moon is Watching Us. I took my crazy pills.
Did you take your crazy pills though? Did you really?
Gumshoe gave me the crazy pills.
You should probably talk to JFK about that. I did take my crazy pills, and I read Superman the Warworld Saga, which is a chonky ass fucking book. This is a lot of issues. It's written by Philip Kennedy Johnson with a few different artists, but the primary ones were Daniel Semper and Riccardo Federici. This was a couple of years ago. It's fucking, this whole thing is Action Comics.
Amazon says it's 712 pages.
Yeah, it's big. And I read it in a day. Being temporarily unemployed had its benefits, okay? It's Action Comics 1030 through 1046, Action Comics Annual 2021, Action Comics 2022 Annual, Batman/Superman Authority Special, and a bunch of future state issues, because that was also when this was happening. Basically, Superman is on Earth, and there's an escaped ship from Warworld with a bunch of slaves on it. He's like, yo, what the fuck's up with that shit? And they speak Kryptonian, and he's like, the fuck? I don't think that's good. I should probably go to Warworld and like free all the slaves or some shit. And the Justice League says, yeah, we'll help you with that, but like not right now. We got other shit to do. So Superman's like, I'm going to go make my own team, which is then the book that's not included in this one because it's a different story that was written by Grant Morrison with art by Mikkel Janin, which was Superman and the Authority, which is a very confusing book because of a bunch of editorial nonsense, but it is very, very good. Superman puts together a team of people basically off screen, like Manchester Black, Steel, and Midnighter, Apollo, a few other people, to go to Warworld and fuck shit up, basically. Fuck. And then they go to Warworld. Some people die. Some people don't die. Some people get enslaved. And Superman is basically depowered the entire book and still kicks ass. And this is where we get the iconic Superman with like booty shorts and no shirt with an axe and a sword and shit, which is great. He then inspires like people because it's Superman. What else do you think he's going to do? So he becomes this. It's a really, really well set up like arc. There's kind of some time travel involved. Don't worry about that. But he effectively becomes a symbol of like certainly not non-violent but non-lethal resistance of like, I can't remember what the word for it is, but in the language that they speak on Warworld, which is basically a giant gladiator planet, there's a word they use to describe him that is like an unbloodied sword. Despite the fact that he fights with one, he doesn't kill anybody, like, at all. So he uses it defensively and a shield and all this other fun stuff. So it becomes this weird, like, cultural symbol of fighting against what this entire culture is about, and all that stuff. So like, ooh, symbolism and beans and big cream. Philip Kennedy Johnson is a fucking great writer. Like, I consistently puts out incredible books. The art was a little hit or miss. I don't like how many artists ended up working on it in totality. It felt more like each chunk of the story had an artist as well as a couple of fill-ins. None of it was bad by any means. There was, I believe it was Frederici's art was disgustingly good, though. If you think of this arc and you can conjure up an image that you've seen, it's probably one of his. Really good pencil work, incredible depth. I just wish that they got more consistent artists, because then you'll have chunks that are like, oh, this doesn't look like anything else we've been reading, and that can affect the tone like a lot. This book does take itself fairly seriously, not like it's grim and dark. It's fucking Superman. It's still hope woo, but it does get pretty gross sometimes. And then when it randomly has an issue done by some other artist, it's like, oh, that looks kind of cartoony, I guess. Big fucking book. There's also an omnibus version of this, which is really weird. So this is a paperback. It's about the size of a compendium, or in that neck of the woods. And there's a hardcover omnibus coming out, I believe, later this year that includes all of this, as well as the Superman and the Authority story, which is very strange. It makes sense, like, as an omnibus, but because that book is being labeled, Superman by Philip Kennedy Johnson, X, Y, and Z, it's weird because that book actually would then include less percentage of written by Johnson. I don't know. It's one of those weird Spencer brainworms. I believe this was $40 cover price, either 40 or 50. Very much so worth reading. It does just kind of ping pong a little bit in terms of visual quality, but very consistently above board, and genuinely incredible writing across the whole. Big recommend.
I was planning to talk about Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, but yesterday, I think, Colin started talking about it in the group chat, and it seems like he's hate boner watching it, so that he can talk about it next week. So I will hold off so we can both hate boner talk about it next week. So, calling an audible, I watched Daredevil Season 1 again.
Join us, brother.
2015. It was a Netflix exclusive. It started the whole Netflix Marvel shows. And I could not believe just how good it was. I remembered it being good. I watched it when it released, and just never rewatched it. So it's been 10 years since I've seen it. And
how am I even friends with you, honestly?
Because you wouldn't shut the fuck up about it. I'm like, yeah, that's nice. I'm not going to rewatch the same thing you're rewatching. The casting is incredible. Everybody fits their role just so well. I love Ben Urich. I wish we could have had more of him. Kingpin is amazing. Vanessa's amazing. Like, Matt and Foggy and Karen are great. Just, oh my gosh, it starts with the casting. The fight scenes are incredible. There's so much choreography, and it doesn't feel like, I don't know, it feels like fight scenes have kind of gotten samey. Like they're hiring the same couple fight choreographers in a lot of stuff lately, but this feels different. It feels carefully crafted for like the lore of Daredevil. It looks like what it should look like. It does storytelling in the fight scenes because you know he's blind and he's masked. But he has super duper hearing or whatever. His sixth sense, you can tell it just looks like a different fighting style. It's really, really cool. The whole hush money against the big corporation definitely doesn't feel like it was ahead of its time at all. It's definitely not. I don't know. It fits in very well, especially with current events. It's very good. What else?
Yes.
The suit was good. I remember that being a big tease of like, no, he doesn't get the suit until the last episode, and that kind of pissed me off because it's a really good suit. The first time I watched it. Kind of wish I had done this sooner so that I could have gotten the other 2 seasons in before Born Again, but it's all right. I remember those better. I was surprised at how much of this season I had actually forgotten. So, I don't know. Very good. 5 stars.
Yeah.
Anything to add? Anything succinct to add?
No. Why would you even point at the door? Don't let me do that.
That's why I said succinct.
You got a separate phone? Just for girls? Really?
He would, too. He's Catholic.
Yes. So moving on from that, before I fucking...
Technical difficulties.
At the same time, on Earth, John Kent took over the mantle-ish, kind of being Superman. This is also during the time period where Superman's identity was revealed to the public. That was a Bendis decision from the previous run. That's a controversial pick. But we have our aged-up John Kent after getting, like, kidnapped and tortured for years and aging up and all that shenanigans. Takes over the role of Superman for the planet. I read all 3 volumes, so it's like 26 issues or somewhere in that neck of the woods. I had discussed the first trade of this a while ago, I believe when the first trade came out, but now that this run is over, rip, I wanted to get up to speed, I guess. And reading these 2 stories next to each other was really cool, just to kind of see what was going on. I have mixed feelings about John Kent. I'm on the positive end of things, but I think as the run went on, the allure of the character kind of got sandblasted off, which is frustrating because I agree with most people's criticisms of how he's been presented and kind of written for the past few years, but also I want to defend Milady Tom Taylor's honor or whatever, because he kind of got handed a weird stick, and I think he did with it given the circumstances. I just think the run didn't have that much planned out, and I think that's more where my disappointment comes in, because then you end up focusing a lot more on how the character is being written rather than the story, and it kind of comes a little unraveled. Basically, Superman fucks off into space and is like, gotta go, bye. And then we have John dealing with an emerging crisis from a fictional country, I believe in Europe, that's being ruled by a character that I now know is actually from the Wildstorm universe originally. What's his name? Henry Bendix, I believe. He basically just comes across as Lex Luthor, which is very disappointing because Luthor's also in this book here and there, and he's just better. Like, Bendix is very different from how he was written when he was like a character involved with the Authority, and I just think that wasn't translated well. He just comes across as like Diet Lex Luthor, and even Luthor's like, dude, you're stealing my shtick, and meh, not great. The majority of the art was done by John Timms and Sian Tormi. I do not know how to say that name. I'm very sorry. Most of it was pretty good. I wasn't in love with a couple of the artists that got there towards the end. I believe it was Clayton Henry. I just didn't really jive with. It was a little too soft for my liking, I guess. But it definitely started off very good. John Timms is very talented. I love the suit, both suits that he ends up using during this run. He has like his Superboy outfit or whatever, and then if I remember correctly, Clark had Martha make him another one that he like gives him. He's like, I'm gonna leave to go do space stuff, but you should have a new suit. Here you go, buddy. And I really jive with it. It works really well as a what if Superman was like 21 and also now, but also it's not Clark. So I don't know. It fits the character really well. It doesn't feel like it's treading over ground we've already been through or trying to emulate a particular vibe. I don't know. You could have just gone with a very similar. You could have just aped the original outfit. You could just go, boom, it's the same, just on a smaller dude, and that would have been fine. But they do opt out of that, and they give him zoomer lines and shit, and I don't know. It just works really well. There is an arc in this that I did think was actually pretty cool. That stood out where John basically saves a city. I believe it's Metropolis, but I just don't remember. It's been a minute. From like a big bug, like a big wet lobster. Just like some classic ass Superman shit. Just like, oh look, it's a kaiju. And like the League wants to like kill it or like banish it away, and he's like, but it's my friend though. And it's very goofy. I liked it. It was very Superman finding creative solutions to problems instead of just literally beating the shit out of it. It's like it's an animal, probably just like freaked out or whatever. So we should probably like try to nudge it away from the city instead of just like, let's pulverize its heart. Calm down, Wonder Woman. And I think that did work very well. It just kind of ended on a thud by the time it was over. It just didn't keep either the pace or the character writing at the same level of quality. When it starts off, John really feels like a good, well-rounded character of the son of Superman and Lois Lane, and by the end of the book, or all three books, he just kind of feels like Superman, and not in the best way. He loses a lot of his, I wouldn't say aggression necessarily, but his like tenacity. Like the Lois Lane half just kind of fades away, and that is disappointing. I hope that this gets revisited soon. I hope that they can find another writer who cares about this and wants to continue this, because I don't want John Kent to just kind of get swept under the Superman rug and tossed in there with everybody else. There's a billion Superman adjacent characters, and I don't know. I don't want this to be like a failed start of a mantle pass that they just kind of revert back on. I do hope it continues through time. I just think that they need to plan it out a little better. Each trade was like $16. I'm pretty sure I bought them all at Jetpack. I wish it was all collected in one larger trade. My usual complaint with books like this that are started as ongoings and then they stop somewhere in like the 20s is just they're always collected weird. Meh. You know, it's not meh. Our patrons who give us money so buy books. Too many books. I have a problem. If you want to help support this show, you can go to patreon.com/dimecomicbros network, like Caitlin and Jeff Lawrence. Tossing a couple of bucks is always appreciated. It helps us with our stupid comic addiction. You also get your name shouted out in all of our episodes. You get early access to most of our shows most of the time when we're on schedule, which we're getting better at, we promise. I've been saying this for 5 years now. as well as exclusive access to Happy Hour, where after pretty much every show, we will talk shit, open up a beer, talk about random bullshittery. Could be video, it could be books, it could be the weather, it could be beard care. It's anything and everything goes. You should check out our Substack at substack.com/dimecomicbros network. Every week, Jacob puts in a lot of effort into putting visual representation of what we're talking about, as well as citing all of our news sources. It's free, and emails are cool because we're coming back. Email's back. AOL Messenger is back. VHS tapes are back. Vinyl's back. It's so back. We're so back. Monkey hit button. Until it's Jover. And it'll probably be Jover tomorrow. A thank you to our partners over at Jetpack Comics and Games in downtown Rochester, New Hampshire. Try to support your local comic book shops and any other type of local business, especially with how shit the world is getting outside. Stop giving Lex Luthor money. It sucks. Don't do that. Buy your stuff at local niche shops. They're like keeping the world afloat. And we try to keep them afloat because they then keep our interests afloat. There are no comics if nobody buys them, etc., etc. Jetpack is very cool. We like them. Next show is going to be stuff. Oh, it's X-Men First Class with Colin.
Ooh, yes. I'm excited for that one.
So that will be a hoot and hollerin' time. I love it when I convince you guys to watch gay romance movies. It's my favorite thing about this show.
It's one of my favorite X-Men movies.
Yep. No, Eric, you broke my back. Bitches getting their backs blown out. Fucking skill issue.
Buy another dude.
I know, like, what the fuck, bro? Oh no, the metal hit a funny part in my spine. Owie. I fell over. Come pick me up, man.
You only like that movie because it's one of your biggest crushes taking her clothes off.
Why'd you out me like that? No, it's because Darwin is in it, okay? He's my favorite X-Man. The guy who can't die dies. I know. He's a favorite. It's a classic.
I thought you were going to say it's because it's one of the best Beast versions.
That is also true.
You definitely identify as a Beast.
No.
He has hair growing out of the bottom of his toes.
Yeah, and I don't have that. I'm not that cool. I haven't taken the super duper Beast potion, only the original Beast potion.